Good evening, dear viewers of Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast with me, Immaculate Fogwe. Several days after the General Certificate of Education examinations resumed across the country following an earlier suspension linked to examination malpractice, another suspected case has been reported in Bamenda, raising fresh concerns about the effectiveness of the ongoing measures to curb cheating and safeguard the integrity of the exams. And also, we'll tell you how efforts are currently being made to curb what is happening in Cameroon as far as a sachet of whiskey are concerned. Recently, the Minister of Mines, Kalisu Gentry, visited some parts in Douala today, where he says that a crackdown is ongoing to help address the situation. Those are top stories tonight. Good evening, and thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for choosing Equinoxe Television. We'll begin this newscast with education. A suspected case of examination malpractice has been reported in Bamenda during the ongoing General Certificate of Education GC examinations. As you can see in the images, a teacher in a school found in Mancon is being arrested by police over allegations that he was selling GC examination papers to candidates through WhatsApp groups. The papers were reportedly offered at low prices, and the incident has reportedly uncovered by examination officials as the examinations continue under heightened security measures introduced by the Ministry of Secondary Education to safeguard the integrity of the exams and also ensure fairness for all candidates. The latest development comes several days after the GC exams resumed nationwide following an earlier suspension linked to reports of examination malpractice in some parts of the country. Education authorities have not yet released a full details of the case, and investigations are ongoing to establish the full circumstances surrounding the alleged malpractice. And now we talk something else. A major fire has destroyed the State Council's chambers in Mamfe, that is one of Manyu's division's key judicial buildings, in ruins. The fire, which reportedly broke out on Thursday morning after a loud explosion, spread quickly through the building, destroying offices, computers, furniture, legal files, and many important official documents. Workers who were inside at the time rushed to safety as the flames engulfed the premises, while residents gathered in disbelief to watch firefighters and security officials respond to the emergency. Although no deaths or injuries have been reported, the destruction is expected to seriously affect court activities and other judicial services in the division. The cause of the fire remains unknown, and investigations are now on the way to establish what happened as authorities assess the full extent of the damage and equally seek ways to restore the services in that part of the country. And now to stay in the southwest region, as communities across Cameroon's southwest are stepping up the fight against hard drugs. And over the weekend, residents in Mamfe Chiefdom, Fotabe Village, and equally Tiko staged a protest to denounce the growing drug menace, with some traditional leaders going as far as laying curses on those accused of selling and consuming the substances. Magikan Gabriel reports.
Women and men in Mamfe Chiefdom say no to the use of hard drugs in their village. Consumption of hard drugs have affected almost every family in Mamfe. Children drop out of school for no reason and they become wayward, making them to be futureless. Whether you are a consumer or a buyer, it will never be well with you. With messages like "say no to tramadol, hard drugs and substance abuse. Drug abuse kills the youth. Protect our youth and their future." The people of Mamfe sensitized others about the disadvantages of the consumption of hard drugs. Mamfe has always been a Christian-dominated area, and we have been praying and asking for God to intervene on the fire which is burning fast on our roofs, which is that of hard drugs. Mothers, let's not hide our children, because drugs are dangerous. Than for a child to cause the death of his parents, the child should not live. A traditional ritual was carried out to lay a curse on any native who continues with the illegal activity. In Tico subdivision, the youth stormed the streets to say no to drugs and sexual violence. We, the youth of Tico, have decided not to sit quiet. We are not idle, but we have decided to join our voices to fight against rape and drugs. The protests took these youths to several offices of top authorities in the town. At the Gendarmerie Brigade, they were reassured.
This fighting began since with me. Since I'm there, all of you will know me. I fight very badly against drugs, against rape. So you can trust me. We are working hand to hand. You get somebody, I don't touch them because of drugs.
Meanwhile, in Fortabe village, under Manu division, a huge crowd marched against illegal use of hard drugs. When this drug abuse started, we thought it was a joke. Now it has taken a different dimension and a threat to the community. We thought those who have gone to school will be the ones to curb it, but instead they are the ones promoting it. You can't stay at home with your boy child. As there is no work, he sells your property just to go buy drugs. For some months now, towns and villages have taken the fight against the use of hard drugs personally, which civil society actors blame the government for failing to arrest those involved in the business.
And Cameroon's drive to clean up its industrial sector has entered a decisive phase, with authorities cracking down on factories operating outside the law. From Dibamba to Bonaber and equally Bassa, dozens of non-compliant businesses are facing closure as the Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Professor Fu Calestus Gentry, and equally other authorities enforce regulations governing the industrial sector. Babila Jonathan has more.
Authorities are intensifying efforts to restore order in Cameroon's industrial zones, where widespread regulatory violations have become a major concern. In industrial hubs including Bassa, Bonaberi and Dibamba in the Douala industrial zone, officials are targeting unauthorized businesses, illegal land occupation, tax evasion and failure to comply with environmental, safety and manufacturing standards. Leading the enforcement operation, the Interim Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Professor Fu Calestus Gentry, accompanied by littoral regional authorities, have ordered the sealing of several factories found to be operating in violation of the law. The inspection mission stretched from the Dibamba subdivision through the city of Douala to Bomono, resulting in the closure of several companies, many of them owned by foreign nationals.
We are having a crackdown. Just as we have done on mining in the east, we are doing on the industry. And as you know, nearly 80% of industries are foreign. So we are doing a crackdown in Douala to stamp out all illegality. And we'll have a map, cartography of every industry in Cameroon, every council area, every subdivision, to bring out what that industry has to give as benefits to the community and to the people.
Before sealing the companies operating in illegality, the Interim Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Professor Fu Calestus Gentry, reminded officials of a cement factory in the Dibamba area that every industrial establishment must comply with the laws governing the creation, establishment and functioning of factories, workplace safety and environmental protection. He stressed that respect for these regulations is essential to ensure fair competition, safeguard public interest and promote sustainable industrial development.
In the same vein, the Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Professor Fu Calestus Gentry, has announced the end of the production and commercialization of whiskey in sachets in Cameroon. He adds that illegal wine production must stop. Right now, take a listen to Professor Fu Calestus Gentry in this excerpt.
So I'm here to declare that 2026 is the last year Cameroon will hear about whiskey in plastic sachets. Is the end. Whiskey must be produced in glass bottles. And what you have here is a modified form of plastic. This is not allowed because there's going to be a chemical reaction between the plastic and the chemical product of whiskey after a long time. is not good for human consumption. Also, we have not been able to close all the companies on quality based on a standard norm, which the excuse was that there was no Cameroon norm. Today, we have taken the decision to align by the international norm for whiskey. So inspections will resume even when you produce whiskey in bottles, so that if any whiskey is produced with metallic content of some elements above the required standards, it will be closed based on the international norm. We are here in front of where drinks are produced, and these are not authorized entities. But even so, they are produced in people's houses. It's, in fact, producing palm wine is cleaner than what is happening here. Yes. So you have Tata Pineapple Vodka, Pastis Gordon's Blend, Vodka Gordon's Blend, Dragon Vodka, Gordon Scotch, Kasani's Whiskey, Kujuro Gin, Coconut Peanut Vodka, Yobo, American Red, American Blue, Black Nobel, Tombo. We are going to make this list complete, and we'll be able to publish it on our website, and we will only give you the authorized list. So people are advised to avoid these products because the environment in which they are produced is not fit for human consumption.
Professor Fu Kalisus Gentry speaking during his visit to Douala and equally surrounding areas. And now we talk something else. The Cam Renaissance Movement CRM party says it will not be intimidated. The party has vowed to contest every upcoming legislative and municipal election, accusing the ruling CPDM party of trying to destabilize it. The declaration came during a press conference at the CRM party headquarters in Odza, Yaoundé. It is chaired by the party's first vice president, Mamadou Mota. Fomi Armstrong Sanda has more on that.
Addressing supporters, sympathizers and members of the press in Yaoundé, Mamadou Mota made it clear that the CRM party is back on the electoral field in Cameroon. Stating emphatically, Mamadou Mota said nothing will prevent the CRM from running in any legislative and municipal elections in the country. This marks a major shift for the party, which boycotted the 2020 legislative and municipal polls. Mamadou Mota went on an offensive against the ruling party. He accused President Paul Biya's regime of postponing elections out of fears for the CRM's growing electoral strength. He further dismissed recent CPDM party claims that the CRM's December 2025 convention was illegal and that Maurice Kamto is an illegitimate president. Mota describes these allegations as a fiction. On the internal party matters, the first vice president defended the CRM's credibility. He insisted that the party has no problem with its text and went further to state that they have operated with clockwork discipline. To back his claims, Mamadou Mota presented what he called a detailed administrative and legal chronology to prove all procedures were followed correctly. The press conference comes shortly after the Constitutional Council in Cameroon declared itself incompetent to rule on the CRM's challenge. That case was against the presidential decree extending the mandate of municipal councillors until February 2027. For now, the CRM party says it is focused on mobilizing ahead of the next polls in the country.
From Armstrong Sanda reporting there. Now we talk sports. Africa's World Cup hopes hang the balance as Senegal face a must-win clash to keep their knockout dream alive. Meanwhile, Côte d'Ivoire celebrates a historic qualification while Tunisia's campaign comes to an end. Sportsman Smarty Gabriel has updates on that.
Defending African champions, Senegal face a must-win final group game. The Lions of Teranga must beat Iraq by more than 2 goals to have a chance of qualifying as one of the best third-place teams for the round of 16. For now, Ecuador, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Sweden and Paraguay have already taken the first 4 knockout spots. Côte d'Ivoire have reached the World Cup knockout phase for the first time in their history. The Elephants now wait to face either Norway or France in the round of 32. It is the end of the road for Tunisia The Carthage Eagles didn't concede in the qualifiers but leaked 12 goals and scored just 2 in 3 World Cup games. They used 2 different managers during the tournament and are now eliminated. History for Japan. Yuto Nagatomo became the first Asian player to appear at 5 World Cups after coming on in Japan's draw with Sweden. He has now featured in 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022 and 2026. Among the 3 hosts, only Mexico finished the group stage undefeated. Canada and the USA both lost their final group matches. Mexico also made history off the pitch. Katia Itzel Garcia became the first Mexican woman to referee a FIFA World Cup match, taking charge of Netherlands versus Tunisia in a custom uniform in the colors of the Mexican flag, and the tournament is breaking records in the stands. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has officially surpassed 3.6 million fans in attendance, setting a new all-time record.
And that's it for this first part of the news. Talking Point comes up next. My guest tonight on Talking Point is Sama ABANG MUGWA. He is a social critic and also an educationist, and he's joining us live from Boya, which is a chief town of the Southwest region. Good evening, Sama. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight.
Good evening, Immaculate. This is Sama ABANG MUGWA from Boya. It's my pleasure to always be on set with you. Thanks for accepting me once again.
Now, Sama ABANG, the GC examinations only resumed this Monday after a 2-week suspension over alleged exam paper monetization and equally malpractice. Now, another alleged cheating incident has surfaced. What is your reaction to that incident?
It's an embarrassment, a personal embarrassment, as well as a national embarrassment that at a time when we thought that the authorities, that's from the Ministry of Secondary Education and the authorities of the board, had put in place the perfect strategy to ensure that the national disaster that occurred during week 1 of the official exam did not repeat itself. It's an embarrassment that even right on the very first day, that's on the 22nd, when the exams phase 2 resumed, there were already social media pronouncements by candidates who made fun of the ministerial decision to suspend the exam. It was an embarrassment that on live TikTok, a candidate who had just sat for the exam that same day, the 22nd, announced publicly how GCE Advanced Level Geography Paper 2 had leaked, and he was making fun and mockery of the authorities and questioning the rationale for suspending the exam when the same leakage, which was being preempted, had still taken place. I was thinking that with such public announcement, immediate actions were going to be taken. Some other teachers and some other stakeholders even doubted the authenticity of that TikTok appearance until yesterday when we saw it clearly how French paper 1 and paper 2 for ordinary level had leaked. Again, as I said, Immaculate, it's a personal embarrassment as a teacher, as a trade unionist, as a teaching activist, and as a parent, and I'm sure it is an embarrassment to every other citizen. Again, as they say, as the hunters have learned to shoot without missing, the birds have actually learned to fly without perching.
Now, given the suspect in this alleged examination malpractice case is a teacher, what does this incident say about ethics and accountability within the teaching profession?
Immaculate, you are a Cameroonian as I am. you are not only a Cameroonian citizen, or we are not only Cameroonian citizens, we are residents in this country, and we are not strangers to the death, to the complete erosion of values, principles, and virtues in our society. Not only in the teaching corps, in which sector in this country are exams and positions not bought and sold? The minister's reason for suspending the exams 2 weeks ago was based on the assumption that the exam had been monetized. Monetization of opportunities, monetization of job opportunities is a common phenomenon. It's only regrettable that in the last sector, where even the common man could find solace, which is education, the values and virtues of good living have been so eroded, and that even at a time when efforts have been made to put things right, we still find people who have lost their conscience. So many citizens, even those who have lost faith in the systems that characterize our society, still believe that the educational sector is the last man standing, is the last hope of the citizens.
Now, let's take this aspect. Speaking on CRTV's flagship program, Press R, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Pauline Aluva-Lyonga, accompanied by the Director of Examinations, reiterated government's determination to preserve the credibility and also the integrity of national exams. The minister warned against describing the situation as Yaoundé coming to take over our things. Do you think such statements risk politicizing what should be, let's say, an educational issue?
I wouldn't find fault with my minister for making such a pronouncement. Her pronouncement was a reaction to some already ungodly insinuations and pronouncements that were already being circulated, already being peddled by political stakeholders. It is not strange that we have heard people say that the act of leakage of GCE exams is an attempt by those who want to sabotage, so that it gives them reason to hijack a typically Anglo-Saxon institution and take it over to Yaoundé. I have heard that being peddled around by political stakeholders, but I join my voice to that of the minister to deny that allegation that whatever is happening at the GCE board has nothing to do with any explicit or implicit, any obscure attempt by whosoever is to hijack the GCE board and take it to Yaoundé. It has nothing to do with such political machinations. Rather, I think that it is just an unfortunate situation perpetuated by persons who have other stakes to gain. The stakes might be those who are interested in positions of authority at the GCE board and who think that the current transition management team should be kicked out of the way. I take responsibility for what I say here. It could also be because of those whom the minister claimed are monetizing the GCE just for their own financial satisfaction.
Now, despite the tighter security measures announced by Minister Pauline Aluva-Lyonga, including the use of metal detectors and also CCTV cameras, the alleged malpractice in Bamenda still occurred, as we saw. Why do you think these measures failed?
Let me start by praising the minister for taking that bold decision, even though a very belated one. It may surprise you, but I take responsibility for what I say here on your platform, that this is not the first time this GCE exam have leaked. 2023, it leaked. 2024, it leaked. 2025, it leaked. But it's unfortunate that the authorities concerned were living in denial because they didn't want to take the responsibility. But I'm sure and I'm thankful that it got to a point where they couldn't deny anymore. I hail the minister for taking that bold decision, which to me is even insufficient. Because exams, the alleged leakage or the leakage of the exams was announced 5 days after the exams had run, which means that all the subjects that were written from Monday, from Tuesday, the 2nd, up till Saturday, the 9th, had leaked. And I expected the minister to have taken the much stronger decision of cancelling the entire exam. Because you will not allow subjects that have been written and which had already leaked to go through, then you now suspend and cancel to reprint those that were not proven to have leaked. I expected to have taken the strongest decision to have cancelled the exam entirely. Secondly, I have heard the minister say that sanctions would fall. I just pray that the sanctions that will fall are the most severe. Because and it is a criminal offense to leak public exams. But again, as a teacher of philosophy, as a teacher of citizenship education, the laws exist to deter crime. But the laws are only deterrent enough when they are severe. Once a law, a penalty is not severe, it loses its deterrent value. What do I mean by this? I think that the GCE board has been very lenient, and the authorities of the, should I say, of the courts, our judiciary, have not acted on this issue decisively. And for all the years that we've heard of examination malpractices and leakages, I have never heard the judiciary taking actions suo motu, taking actions by themselves to bring perpetrators to book. I think that even the sanctions that are dished out by the GCE board are less severe and less deterrent.
And ABANG, we are hoping that the case of the teacher who was recently arrested in Bamenda will serve as a lesson to many other teachers who may want to carry out such an illegal act. Thank you, ABANG MUGWA. You are a social critic and an educationist. You are speaking to us live from Boya, which is a chief town of the Southwest region. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what put a cap to tonight's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Have a wonderful evening in the company of interesting programs on ETV. Bye-bye for now.